Hey, are you ready to grow your business? You have checked out the number one resource for business leaders, entrepreneurs, startup founders, and managers. And we're going to teach you how to grow and scale your business with real actionable steps. There's no fluff in this podcast. It's just good advice. Check out this episode. If you're a first-time listener, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. And if you enjoy this episode, leave us a 5-star review. Today's episode, we're talking about how do you grow the sales revenue of your business. If you've been wanting to know how to do this, especially digitally and also during a COVID-19 pandemic world, I think you're going to enjoy what we're talking about today. Stay tuned. Here comes your good advice. Hey, you've checked out another episode of the Good Advice Podcast. It's time we drill down and do a little bit of a solo episode. Man, I tell you, I've recorded so many guest episodes. I'm right now, today is September 2nd. I have enough guest episodes to last me really almost the entire year. And so I'm just trying to get these episodes out. I'm trying to get them out for the guests who've come on so they don't feel like I've ignored them and forgotten about them. But today we're going back to our roots and we're recording a solo episode. I got some things that are top of mind for me today. Some things that I've been thinking about, some things I want to share with you. By the way, if you've never checked out this podcast before, this is the place that you can come to. Just imagine a nice crackling fire on a chilly night where you can just be comforted in your business. I'm going to throw some encouragement your way, but also I'm going to give you some actual things that you need to be thinking about to grow your business, to be better, to be more competitive, and to get the revenue that you need to really take your business where you want it to go. And I'm not talking about fluff. I'm not talking about the latest guru secrets. You know, you see all these ads, these things that the random copy that you read that talks about, hey, let me give you the secret to 6 figures, to 7 figures. I had a guy one time who he said, hey, I want to help you. I work with coaches on hitting 10 figures for their business. And I was like, actually, no, wait, let me think about this. Hang on, let me think about this. I gotta do the math here. Hang on, I gotta write this down because I'm not so good at math. Let's count these digits real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 digits. He said, hey, I help people get 11-digit businesses. And I thought for a second, I said, okay, hang on. You help people get tens of billions of dollars? And this guy was maybe 19 years old, 19, 20 years old. And he's like, yeah, I help people basically achieve 11-figure businesses. And I'm thinking, wow, like, why are you talking to me, man? I'm small stuff. You know, I'm probably not worth your time for the size of clients you're probably working with. In fact, if you just take commission alone, take 1% of commission, take the tiniest sliver of commission, and man, you're set. You know, so why are you even talking to me? And he's like, hey, man, I just want to help out. I just want to give back. You know, I want to give back to people. But that's really our sales culture today. People throwing out these big numbers, throwing out big figures. Man, I feel bad for business owners who are starting right now for the first time. Not just for starting right now during COVID, which, by the way, I went back and listened to an episode from late March, early April. And at the start of the episode, I was saying, yeah, hopefully we're almost done with this COVID thing. And I want to go back and say, Blake, you silly man. Oh, you sweet summer child. You had no idea. It's now September. I don't know when this thing's ending. Hopefully at some point. But I feel for business owners who they're starting during COVID or they did start at the beginning of COVID. But not just because of COVID, but man, there is so much junk out there on social media. People who they're doing everything backwards in terms of growing their business, but also people out there who, I mean, they are presenting, and this is social media, right? I mean, this is like premium social media right here. The person that people are presenting is so different from who they really are. And I'll never forget a guy who He was posting maybe almost every day about all the successes he was having with his clients. He was a marketer. He was talking about all the money he was bringing in for his clients and talking about all the money he was making. And then I found out that he was a high school football coach, which nothing against high school football coaches. I've been a high school teacher myself, not knocking the profession. But I thought to myself, what's a multimillionaire, supposedly, doing also being a, high school football coach? Something doesn't add up here. This doesn't make sense. So it's tough right now to be a business owner. It's, it's tough right now to start a business because there's just so much BS out there. And I want to hone in on this BS concept for a second, because the whole reason I'm recording this episode today, and this is the encouragement I want to give you. This is the good advice I want to give you today. I want to talk about how do you do sales online? How do you do sales effectively in general? And what you never, ever, 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 ever need to be doing ever again. And if you are doing these things that I tell you not to do, you need to stop doing them because they are crushing your business. And it's not the good kind of crushing, which we love these little expressions. Man, you're crushing it. Man, you're killing it. You're going to really kill it. I mean, you're going to flat out kill your business if you fall into this trap of doing sales this certain way. And the reason I'm talking about this is because it feels like, maybe because of COVID, it feels like a lot of people are really trying to digitize their business. Maybe people who they've never really looked at selling online before, but now we have businesses who they are realizing, okay, there's a bit of an untapped potential here. I need to find a way to sell online. And maybe they had some sales online, but it really wasn't the focus. And now you have people who they are ultimately thinking about, how do I really leverage an online platform like Facebook, like LinkedIn, whatever else, to basically drive sales for my business. In looking at what people are doing online, I feel like I need to start a YouTube channel called Sales Fails, because I have no shortage of content. In fact, I have a folder called Stop Doing This on my Google Drive, and it's literally pictures of things that I'm seeing people doing that I'm cringing, and I'm thinking, why would you do that? I wrote an article on LinkedIn. It's called, Here's a Sales Hack for You. And the reason I called it a sales hack, is because I'm getting inundated myself with, hey, Blake, I want to share you the latest sales hack. I want to share with you the latest sales secret. Hey, Blake, I want to give you, because I'm so generous, I want to give you my email copy, the one paragraph I send to people that all you need to do is send this one email and it's going to totally revolutionize your business. I want to give this to you. Let's jump on a call and we'll talk about it. Or, hey, I'm going to give you the script for the one sales call. The only thing you need to say, if you follow this script verbatim, you will close the majority of your sale. I'm seeing this stuff over and over and over again. And so I thought, I was kind of joking about it, but I was like, man, here's a real sales hack. Here's really the hack. Here's really the secret to growing the sales in your business. And so I called the article, Here's a Sales Hack, Try Being Human. And part of the reason I called it this was because people in general are so blissfully ignorant on how sales works. And you see things like this, like the expression of people love to buy, but no one loves to be sold to. Not a true statement. People do not mind being sold to. If I have a problem in business, if I've been trying to solve a problem in my business and you have the answer, I'm glad you have the answer. I want to know about the answer. I want you to solve my problem and I will happily pay for it. So I don't hate being sold to. I think what we're tired of as business owners is the constant DMs, the disingenuous messages. I mean, you could probably relate with me. I am so sick of the endless messages on, hey, Blake, I love what you're doing with your business. Would love to connect, would love to talk. And then the immediate next message is, hey, can I sell you on this? And not in those direct words, but basically, in fact, I laughed. And this has happened more than once. I had somebody who reached out and they messaged me at 11 a.m. And they said, hey, Blake, I was thinking about you. How are things going with COVID in your family right now? And I didn't see the message. It was a busy day. I just didn't see the message. Well, 2 hours later at 1 o'clock, and I hadn't seen the message. This is why I hadn't responded yet. 2 hours later at 1 o'clock, I could tell this person got impatient. And he said, well, hey, Blake, I want to tell you about this awesome service I'm launching that you would be perfect for. Do you have time on Tuesday or do you have time on Wednesday for us to talk? And I kind of laughed. I didn't even respond. I just thought this person did not DM me to really see how I was doing during COVID. This person DM'd me because this is a thirsty guy looking for a sale. It's a desperate salesperson who's going straight for the kill, who wants to make the sale. We have to do better as salespeople. So here's the encouragement. Here's, get yourself up against the nice cozy fire. I'm going to hit you with some truth today. I'm going to tell you what you need to be doing to actually grow your business. And this is not going to be rocket science. This is going to sound like it's too simple to be true. And yet, if you do this, I promise you, it actually will revolutionize your business. So the article I mentioned, I called it Try Being Human. The sales hack for you is to be a normal freaking human being. It's to be an authentic person who has real conversations, real relationships with people that you aspire to sell to. So one of my favorite clients is the Ronald McDonald House Charities. And whenever we do business together, I'm not looking for, oh, here's the next thing I need to sell you. Oh, here's the next thing I need to tell you about. They just had a big fundraising event it's their golf tournament. Well, I was just texting the CEO, hey, how'd the golf tournament go? Hey, how was it? One of their staff people just had a baby. Hey, how did that go? I actually messaged the person, hey, congrats on the baby. I mean, I'm not like manipulating. It's honest questions. It's honest dialogue. I'm having like a real conversation with people. It's not, hey, let me tell you about this deal. And if you don't buy from me in the next 12 hours, it's going to expire. The price is going to go up 200%. So you got to get in. Hey, spots are limited. So I got to get you in now. And I love this whole spots are limited bit, by the way, because especially for digital products, I mean, unless you're literally selling a seat in a stadium or a seat in a conference room, there's no limit on the people you can put in a digital space. And so I love this whole spots are limited. You got to get in. But if you can be someone who can have real, honest dialogue with people, real conversations with people. I was talking to my friend Brian Sexton, and he has this really awesome hashtag. He actually has a book coming out in the fall. It's going to be called People Buy From People. You need to check it out. It's not out yet, but it's going to be out this fall. You got to buy a copy. It's going to be phenomenal. But the way Brian puts it is people buy from people. And he doesn't mean like lizard people or like robots. He means that when you act human, when you're a normal person and people can connect with you, when they can relate to you, it's not just like the psychoscience of like, I trust this person, so I'm more willing to buy from them. It's like you're being a real human being, and that makes you genuine and authentic in your buyer's eyes. I have people that I go out to eat with, that I get coffee with, and these are people that I want to buy my stuff. I want them to buy from me, but I'm willing to invest in the relationship even if they never do. It's funny, another client of mine's a hospital, and I got them as a client at the start of the year. And I had a friend of mine who they had been a patient at this hospital, and they really admired this hospital. And he said, hey, can we get lunch one day? And I said, sure. So we grabbed lunch, and he said, hey, I want to ask you about this hospital that you got as a client. How did you do that? How did you get, what was the secret to getting that hospital? And I said, well, there really isn't a secret to it. I basically picked up the phone when they called for 3 years, because for 3 years, I was nurturing a relationship with the people who worked there. That's literally all there was to it. I wasn't looking for the latest trick to get them into buying. I wasn't looking for how can I convince them of what's the next best thing they need to get from me. I invested in a real relationship. And here's how we miss this online, especially all the time. Right now, people are so hungry for a sale that they will risk damaging their long-term brand at the expense of a short-term sale. Because think about it. Every 100 messages that you send, maybe one person is going to buy from you. And it's not going to be a high-quality client. It's going to be someone who's desperate enough to take you up on your random DM and buy from you. So you're going to have one person who's desperate enough, and they're not going to give you a great review, by the way, because they're desperate that they're going to be high needs. They're going to want more from you than you're even wanting to deliver on. So they're probably not going to be fully satisfied. So you have the desperate customer who's going to buy from you. The other 99 people, 10 to 15% of them are going to ignore the message. They're not even going to pay attention to it. They're like, whatever. Another, probably 20 to 30% of them, they might be intrigued and they might give you a second look, but they're probably not going to buy from you because, again, it's impersonal, it's transactional, it's whatever. And then the remaining number of people, they're going to be actively annoyed and they're never going to buy from you ever. In fact, they're going to go out of their way not to buy from you because here's what you've communicated. You've communicated that all you care about is the low touch, low relationship, how can I sell you as quickly as possible type of business. You know, I was talking with my friend, Kristen Sherry, who she shared a post where someone had sent an automated message to her. And really the takeaway from it was, yeah, we're never going to do business with this person because this person does not care about me as an individual. And that's really what we're getting at here in terms of what's wrong with sales today is if you are in the nature of doing business for your benefit, how do I make that next sale to add the zero to my bank account so I can finally buy, whatever it is? You are not going to build a long-term sustainable brand that way. You're actually going to be building a business that's all about you. The service or the solution that you offer is really just a means to an end for you. And that is not how you build raving fans for your business. It's not how you build something sustainable. It's not how you build something meaningful. What really builds something meaningful, and by the way, also profitable, is getting into the nature of business where you are so eager to find customers individually that you can help. This isn't a hard to understand concept, and yet I don't get why people don't do this more often. Man, think about the last networking event you went to. You probably had some people that you had honest conversations with, legitimate dialogue with. And then there was probably also someone who was going from person to person to person to person, handing their business card over. I mean, this is the person who showed up with like 200 business cards, and they were like, I'm just going to give this out to everybody. Somebody I'm going to give you 5. Actually, I think I had someone one time who gave me multiple and said, well, you go ahead and give them out to other people too. And I was like, no, I don't even know. You could be a serial killer for all I know. I don't even know who you are, I actually had somebody who gave me their business card. They didn't even say anything to me. They handed me the business card and turned to walk away. And I was like, well, who are you? Hi, hello. Like this person was so in the mentality of this is what I'm trying to just get my card out, that they aren't even doing the basics of just human conversation, human dialogue. And it's not because like all salespeople are malicious. I think sometimes we just don't even know what to do. I had a guy, I put out a couple of pieces of content around basically stop being an awful salesperson. And this guy messaged me and said, man, I loved reading this from you, Blake. Exactly what you're talking about that people should not be doing. That is how I've been doing sales because that's how it was taught to me by my boss, by my sales manager. And now I'm realizing there's a better way. There's a longer term play that's much better for my business. And again, let's be clear. We're not talking about charity. We're not talking about, it's funny when we have these conversations because I'll have people who push back on this really hard and they'll say, your customers aren't looking to be best friends with you. They don't care about you. They don't want to be best friends with you. They don't want to be your BFF. They don't want to have deep conversations with you. They just want whatever you have or they don't. And that's just all it is to it. Or I've seen this comment on, CEOs, business owners, whatever. They don't have time for you. They don't care about you, whatever. And that is partially true. Your customers, when I connect with a customer, I'm really not looking to make my new best friend. But on the same token, what people are looking for is a little bit of genuineness, a little bit of sincerity, a little bit of authenticity, and that who you say you are is really who you are, and what you're offering really does do what you say it's going to do. And to go ahead and push against a misconception in business, you can both build deep relationships with people and have an extremely profitable business. These things are not mutually exclusive. We're not talking about making money or building relationships. What I'm explaining is if you really want to revolutionize the profits of your business, it's going to take something more long-term, more meaningful, more with deeper roots than just this transactional, how do I message as many people as possible today? It's going to take more. It's going to take more patience. It's going to take more conversations than maybe you have the patience to have. But that is literally, I mean, it's funny. You talk to any person who's been in business any decent amount of time, and they're going to talk to you about the magic is in relationships. And people today, they're so desperate for the sale. They're not even doing the basic homework. You know, I had somebody who they reached out to me and they said, Blake, I was laughing about this. They said, Blake, I'd love for you to join my women's entrepreneurial group. And it was someone who was eventually wanting to sell me on some kind of product she was offering. So Blake, I want to sell you, or excuse me, basically she was saying that basically. I want you to join my women's entrepreneurial group. You'd be great for it. And I kind of laughed for a second and I was like, okay, I'm a man. I'm a man and you want me to join your women's group. I am a man. In fact, if you just look at the profile picture, I don't think I look very feminine. I mean, maybe, which I wouldn't, hey, I'm not ashamed. If I'm a beautiful person, I'll take that compliment. But looking at my picture, I assume I am very clearly a man. Now, Blake, is that a, universal name? Maybe, sure, why not? But I just thought, think about the slightest smidge of effort you could put in to let someone know that they matter individually to your business. And that is all your prospective clients are looking for. All they're looking for is that they know, hey, you individually matter. It's not about my bottom line. It's not about how many sales I can make in an hour or in a day or in a week or in a month. But hey, I'm interested in you specifically, and I want to do business with you. That's all it takes. There's no other magic to it. There's no other miracle to it. Now, on the flip side, if someone's ready to buy from you, you don't need to make them your godfather or your kid's godfather or whatever before you finally sell. If someone's ready to buy, sell them. There's no issue with that. But we have to get away from this transactional, impersonal, desperate, thirsty sales strategy and really build some. And this is ultimately the question. Do you want to get paid today or do you want to build something that lasts? Because you can't have both. Seriously, you cannot have both. Either you will build something that lasts, or you'll take your paycheck today or tomorrow, and then a year from now, you'll be doing something else. And some people are okay with that. I've known people who there's nothing wrong with being a serial entrepreneur, but I've known people to be serial entrepreneurs, not because they have legitimately multiple solutions for customers, but because they are so habitual about, I started something, I made as many sales as I could, and then it couldn't last, and I moved on to something else. If you want to build something legacy style, something that lasts, something that has roots that lead to meaningful fruits, then you have to be willing to invest in relationships. Be human. Get away from those stinking email copy lines, those sales scripts, what have you. That next DM you send, it needs to be personalized. And here, let me tell you something. This is how little effort this can take. I reached out to around probably 80 or 90 different business owners. And for every message I sent, I didn't copy paste a single one. I wrote each one for each individual person. And before I sent the message, I looked up, who is this person? What do they specialize in? And what is some things that they are passionate about? So I looked at things that they had written, stuff that they had posted, things that they had said, and then I referenced those things in the messages that I sent. And of the 80 people that I reached out to, almost every single one of them responded to me. Why? Because I showed them, hey, I'm noticing you individually, and I'm interested in engaging with you individually, not just this shoot from the hip, desperately send out messages to whoever I can, and hope, pray to God that someone responds. If you want to grow the sales in your business, you just got to be human. Simple as that. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, definitely be sure to keep following the podcast. Click that subscribe button. Be sure to give this podcast a 5-star review if you enjoyed it. It really does help for the people that are wanting to find good advice out there on the podcast world. And hey, if you really have been following the podcast, you love what we're doing, man, I'd love for you to be a sponsor of the podcast. You can find out more, goodadvicecoaching.com/podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you later. See ya.